for the day. So we got Lambo. You online, mate?
I'm here. Is your stream going? Do you have a delay? Because I don't see it going on YouTube.
I don't
Maybe
see
it's
it going
just-
either. I was gonna say that.
It should be.
Me too.
I don't
There
think
it
I have
is.
a
I have
delay.
it, that's
All
right,
right, we're there. So there could be a slight natural delay, but then I don't have any added delay. Oh, actually, what I have is not the low, what's it called? You know how there are three settings? One of them is instant, and then there's one that has natural latency. So we are on natural latency.
Okay.
All right.
Yep, I'm here. Let's rock.
All right, so we have everyone on voice. So we got Pluto, we got Beast, and we got Lambo. Guys on the chat, can you hear everyone clearly? Can we get a confirmation from chat that the voices are coming through properly before we get started? No, guys, we're not getting a confirmation.
It might be a little bit of a while because it's like a
So-
30-second
That
delay.
natural 30-second, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably should have gone without. Lodi,
okay.
Yeah.
here. Okay, we're getting the comments come through now. The voices are fine, clear. Yep, all good. So welcome guys to our conversation today. Our podcast today. So we got Creators Corner with the four of us. Again, we got Pluto, we got Beastlef, and we got TS and Lambu. Now, guys, for today, I don't have a background music on just because we have four people talking. Maybe the background music could be a little bit too much. Instead, what we have is some KvK action playing in the background. So we're looking at the 1365 KvK, and we can see PX34 and what's it called? Something 86. With the too many kingdoms, I have to give a track. So 86 and 1534 fighting. Now, with that background in play, the first question that we have for you guys to start off our discussion is, in terms of this KvK, what's your take on it? We'll start with Pluto. So Pluto, what's your understanding of this KvK, and who do you think is going to win?
Man, yeah. So from what I've been seeing, there's been so many people streaming this KvK. It's probably going to be the most streamed KvK I've seen in a while. But yeah, so it's been a pretty interesting fight so far. Of course, Thunder didn't want to go straight into 60 GT, which is understandable. But
right?
yeah,
Who would?
yeah. I mean, especially as the weakest camp in the KvK, it just didn't make sense. So it's gonna wait for 1365 to face them. But in terms of the other side, where what were the camps? It's water camp. No wait.
1534.
Yeah. Yeah. So 1534 versus the two other camps. It's looking pretty interesting the way that 2142 and 1786 built their fort line. I haven't actually watched the KvK since I woke up, but when I was like throughout the past like day or two, they built a wall of forts surrounding this, revolving around this river. So the thing about rivers and this fort placement is it's really tough for the offense, the 1534 to go into and kind of besiege, just because there's always going to be choke points that they could hold, so that it could halt their advances. So I think the way that they built is pretty interesting and it is pretty smart. But yeah, we'll have to see how the rest of the KvK goes. I think overall, like we've talked about this previously, but if I was a betting man and I had to pick who would win, it'd be the 1960 side and the 1093 side, just because I've seen more of their KvKs rather than the other side. I mean, 1365 is a beast as well, and I mean 1534 is, you know, doing their best in this zone, but overall, I think there's just overall more known, for me personally, there's more known entities on the 1093, 1960 side. And I don't know if you guys saw, but this used to be a 7 Imperium KvK, where the two allies from 2142 and Well, I don't know which one. Someone from Water Camp and then someone from Daybreak during training phase, I believe, actually ended up becoming Imperium. So it went from a 3v2 Imperium situation to a 3v4 Imperium situation. So, I mean, not that Imperium really means too much, but yeah, I'd overall between the two, I'd pick the 1960 side.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, we can see a few comments on the chat about how Kingdom 86 and 42 use the river and so on, which is what you're referring to as well. So we're going to move on to Lambo now as the most experienced player amongst all of us. So Lambo, take us through your take on how they're utilizing the rivers. And how do you rate it? Is it something that, you know, everyone kind of does, or do you think this is quite unique? And how long do you think these guys can hold on utilizing the rivers?
I mean, that river crossing that you were just highlighting, that's a natural choke point, right? Those river crossings funnel troops through a certain location to get to another location. So, you know, how these guys built their forts, 42 and 86, absolutely fantastic. You know, I mean, that it's pretty much a stalemate in this zone. And I think many were expecting 1534 to dominate this zone, you know, but the way they built their forts, the way they're fighting, the way they're defending, it's been a fun battle to watch. Unfortunately, it's the only battle in this KvK to watch at the present time, but you know, that's gonna change down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely good. So based on how they're utilizing it, how long do you think they can hold on to it? As in, do you think 34 can actually win this zone, or do you think the stalemate is going to continue?
I think the next zone is going to open up before anyone makes any progress in this zone from either side. If you scroll out on the map, it looks like, what is it, 1185, the Mimi Kingdom?
Yeah.
It looks like they're preparing to come in here and help.
Yeah.
And I think it looks like 1093 is probably preparing to come in here and help as well.
Yeah, yeah.
The problem with this zone, though, for the what do you call it, the 1365 side, is that it's blocked off by pass 6 compared to the 1093 side, which is only pass 5. So there, 1534 is actually going to be on an island for a week before anyone from the 1365 side could come in. So it's practically just a war of attrition, and I think it's also a mental game, right? Like you were saying, if you have that expectation where you're expected to dominate, but then you're not, some of that edge can kind of like some of that expectation can kind of weigh on you. So
yeah, I'm actually going to highlight what Ploto just said, as in Mimi, as much as Mimi is just in the next zone, it's not the same situation with 1175 and 1093. There will be a period where 34 has to hold on to 93 and 86 and 42 for a while by themselves. So I think there's going to be a point where 34 may need to just fold here and come through the other zone and join as in Kingsland fight that way, rather than being able to contest here. Now we are going to move on to Beast. So Beast, the question that I have for you is, firstly, before any fighting started, straight after Diplo, who was your pick? Did you think the 93 and 60 side can win versus the 1365? Or was your call that the 1365 side is going to win?
In the last podcast where we talked about that, I was for 1365 side, and I'm still for 1365. I said that it's kind of hard to say here who gonna win. We have so many monster kingdoms in that KvK, with so much power and with so much knowledge. So I think how to say that like the like choke points, like what the water camp did here with that strategy. I think something like that gonna make turn arounds for each side. You know, like something like that. Really decide who's gonna win that KvK. And I'm really looking forward for the next zone fights. How then the fight between 9060 and 365 gonna be, for example. What strategies we're gonna see there and all that stuff. I'm really hyped for that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the opening of the Zone 5. But what I saw, that the water camp was really heavy murderboards at the beginning, and that they really kind of hold off against 1534. That was interesting to see. Yeah, that's so far my comment.
Yeah. Now, the last question that I will have for you on this topic is, so 1960, as in the 1960 1093 side, them winning their Zone 5 without any contest versus 1534 kind of struggling, and now it feels like they may not even win their zone. Do you think that was expected, or for you, do you see this as, I guess, a bit of a letdown from 1534, or do you think this is natural? This is what was meant to happen?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
So was this expected, or is this more of a surprise for you that 1534 didn't win the zone?
Actually, I was kind of surprised, to be honest, but it could have been also expected that the water camp gonna 4-drop so much to hold off against 1534, especially because the river was pretty close to their starting zone. So I think the water camp really have used here the terrain really big, and it was just like a big brain move overall from them. I think if they would have been not behind the river, I don't know, a little bit more aggressive, then 1534 would have been able to take down the water camp in that zone. But because they have used the river, and because it's much more easier to defend behind the river, because you have these small ways to go over the river, you can much more easier to defend it, right? Yeah. So that move here from the water camp was really, really good, and probably gonna hold them the ground until the next zone open.
Yeah, now that makes sense. The closing comment from me, just a one-liner, would be what my R5 in the chat is saying. Night King, 1534 is doing exactly as planned. This setup by Water was expected. I'm probably going to go with his comment as well. This was expected. So by no means I'm seeing this as well. This means the 1365 side is going to lose, or they're under pressure or anything. So whatever the ratio was, if it was at the start 50-50 chance, it still is a 50-50 chance. So to me, this is quite expected. 1960 winning their side, and 1534 not necessarily winning this side easily, obviously not as easily as 1960. They're being dominant, but at the same time they're not in a situation whether they can overwhelm, because the power and the kills, if you check between 86 and 42 versus 1534, it's actually quite similar. So it's not like the 86-42 camp is underpowered. So anyways, exciting KvK, going well. Now we're going to move on to the other...
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go on.
Is that really what 534 was expected to do, though? I mean, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, if you look at how the zone opened,
yeah,
the
they were pushed to pass when the zone opened, right?
The 42 guys and the 86 guys, they dropped forts immediately.
Yeah.
1534 didn't drop any forts. They built all the way down. They did some fighting, flag to flag. Yep. And it wasn't until that fighting didn't go as planned that they decided, hey, we probably better start dropping some forts here as well. So I don't know, Lion, that I honestly believe that statement 100%, that they're doing exactly like they planned.
So how I would probably put it to is somewhere between what you're saying, Lembo, and what I think Night King was saying as well. So which would be So 1534 may have gone with plan A, as in try to push all the way to the pass. But then again, if you look at the power between the two camps and the kills, locking them out straight away, like how 1960 could afford, like the 1960s enemies didn't even come out. So that wasn't expected from 1534 to be able to do. So the way I see it is them flagging out fast to see, let's see whether we can burn the forts down, because obviously it's easier to flag. The flags are going to touch it faster. In case if 86 and 42 is not on the ball, then we can achieve it. But then expectation from the 1365 side would have been that, you know what, we may not win this zone, but then it would have been outperformance from 34 if they managed to lock down 42 and 86 already. So that's where I kind of stand. But hey, that's the thing, like we don't have to agree, right? It's more of a discussion, and for the viewers kind of trying to see how different casters or different creators will assess the situation differently. Right, Lambo?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the other KvK that's definitely quite high profile. And for that one, we're just going to bring up the picture because we don't necessarily have the KvK up and running yet. So that's the 1307 1v 1664 1647. I should probably read out every single kingdom as well because most of them are quite high profile. So we're going to start off on this one with Lambo, since we were just talking to Lambo, and I know that Lambo feels passionate about this KvK. So what's your take on this KvK overall, Lambo?
Well, I don't know if passionate's the right word, but and honestly, I'm probably going to piss off some people with my comments. I will probably have people unsubscribe to me for my comments, but I gotta be honest, and I gotta say what I feel, right?
Yep.
I just don't see and feel that the passion is still there from the bulk of the 1307 players. In several KvKs I've watched them in where they have lost, you know, KvKs against 1052, KvKs against 1960, for example. There are lots of players who don't show up if the fight is not going well. You know, they will be farming, they will be barbing, they will be doing 100 other things other than fighting. You know, this is one of the highest powered kingdoms in the game. You need all your players there contributing. There are players in that kingdom who just don't seem to care, you know, and leadership lets them get away with that. You know, players using Dragonlancer and Attila in the open field to fight just to get memes, just to get shorts for YouTube or whatever the case may be. And leadership lets them do it. I mean, I'm sorry if somebody in my alliance was using Dragonlancer and Attila on the field to quote unquote fight. Any number of our R4s or R5s would kick them out of the alliance faster than they could blink an eye. I mean, I just don't see the passion. You know, they're all about fun. Okay, great, go have fun, but at the same time, is that fun going to translate into a win? I don't think it is in this case. Now, I mean, who has 1307 really fought recently? I mean, do they have any super memorable KvKs like the 1254 against 1556 multiple times? I just don't put them in the same league as 1093, 1254, 2489, 1365. And I'm sorry I cut you off there, Lattice. I'll leave it at that. No,
that's all right, man. I was actually, so not whether I agree with you or disagree with you. It kind of begs the question. So last KvK, 1307, played against 1960. So on that KvK, based on that KvK, would you think that they were not pulling their weight enough? Is that what you're saying, man?
They got trounced. You know, and players who should have been there fighting were not there fighting.
All right. Now, we got to say, big special thank you to Justin. Justin just super chatted $50. Man, that's very kind of you. Much appreciated. I know that you're a fan of Lambo and a fan of Pluto as well. So good to have you on our channel as well, man. Much appreciated. Now, Lemby, because you kind of you kind of rattled the board here, so I gotta ask you. So 1307. Second question for you would be, in terms of this KvK, what do you think about the Diplo? So do you think that they're taking a fair fight, or do you think they're taking an advantageous fight?
Based on the stats that are shown on the screen, it looks like a fair matchup, right?
Yep. All right. So I just had to ask the question just to see whether you got like any special negative feelings for 1307, but based on your comment, I don't think that's the case. It was more of an...
I got nothing against 1307. If I didn't come to 1029, I would have been in 1307.
Yeah.
You know, I got friends in 1307. I got to keep it real, and I got to be honest.
All right, man, all good. That's what it's all about. I end up being disliked by quite a few KDs as well, but then it is what it is. Night King is saying that hats off to all of you guys for being part of this podcast where we are having open conversations and so on. Now, moving on, we're going to come back to you again, Lambo, on this KvK, but then moving on, I'm going to Beast now. So, Beast, what's your take on this KvK? Like, as in, who do you think is going to win, or any other special comments, feelings about this KvK?
Actually, I never watched any KvKs from any of these kingdoms, so I have no idea. Just 1v. I don't know. I think from the Diplo, it looks fair actually. From the stats and how all of it looked, I think it was a good Diplo overall. Teams are fair, and I would say that I'm for 1v, for the 1v team side, just because I know 1v. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm just new into all the Scene of Conquest scene and all the kingdoms, and I just learn like every week something new about the kingdoms. So it's kind of hard for me to predict KvKs like this if I don't know the kingdoms well. You know, so I just go with the 1v side here.
Yeah, nah, that makes sense. Well, Pluto, what's your take, mate? How do you see the Diplo, and who do you think is going to win, and any special feelings, comments, and so on?
Yeah, I'm happy Beast went first, because after Lambo's thing, I can't really, provide as much detail and all that kind of stuff. But the thing about this KvK is, I'm like Beast. I don't really know too much. I've fought against 1664 in our last KvK, the 3v5, with 1254. They're one of the five. One of the four, is it 4 Imperiums? 3 Imperiums that we versed. So I know them, they're pretty chill. And then we got 1v on the other side. Well, alright, wait, let me check the teams again. It's, okay, 1664, 1307, 1188. Well, one Lattice, I'm sure you're happy about this KvK, not because you're not in it, so you don't actually have to verse 1v anymore. So yes, congratulations, you've somehow dodged their grasp, even though applying for the same KvK bracket. Yeah. But honestly, it's looking pretty interesting in terms of the map layout. It's looking like the middle camps for both sides are going to be locked for a little while. So it's 2006, 2403, 2386, and 2520, because just by the ally situation, they're going to be 1v2'd. So from there, I think it really depends on which side gets more drained from either. Like which middle camp is going to be able to drain whoever they fight more, and then yeah, it'll be really interesting. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick the 1647 side, 1079 side, and 1v. just because I've seen more from them lately, and I heard 1079. I literally just had a podcast with the 1079 guys. Yeah, I mean, not a podcast, a farmer fighter series with the 1079 guys.
Yeah.
Yesterday with Gaines Gaming and Shappy. And they're like super excited. They're talking about how the kingdom's been preparing for this for a while, and you know, I think just from that experience alone, like it's gonna be pretty interesting to see, because it's practically like a salty run back of well, not really salty because they won, but 1307 and 1188 were allied last KvK 2, I believe. So we'll have to see how it goes, but my gut feeling, it's the 1079, 1647, and 1034 side, but I'm sure 1664 and 1307, and even the water camp's pretty strong too. I'm sure everyone on that side is going to show out. So, but yeah.
So, I think that kind of leaves me. And whilst you were making your comments, Pluto, in my head, I was thinking, do I do a Lambo, say things that's gonna make half of my viewers unsubscribe, or just try to keep it modest? Now, since I'm not a professional caster, it's more of a part-time and a hobby, I probably have to give up on the subscriber and kind of make the comment. So the way I look at, actually, you know what? I probably don't have any subscriber from 1034 anyways. So the way I look at 1034
oh my gosh.
1034 doesn't take KvKs that they have a chance of losing. And I think the way they do diplos, the same thing goes. 1034 tries their best to make sure that they sign in for KvKs where like the pops they go for are not going to be unkind to them. And even in terms of diplo, they kind of make sure that, you know, they're not in a losing situation. And there's few other KDs that kind of does it as well. So 1556 didn't used to do it, but the way 2489, as in my current kingdom, took their diplo is in a situation where one of the camps is gonna get locked out. So the bottom camp for the 2489 KvK, the bottom camp is gonna get locked out. As soon as the camp gets locked out, that means you're more likely to win. And that's what 1254 did against 1556 last KvK. So 1254, 1034, and 2489. I think, I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying that they're smart KDs, especially with the autark reward and whatever. So these are the kingdom that takes favorable KvKs, which kind of takes away the bragging right a little bit. But then at the same time, I think this is well in favor of 1034 side. Like, for me, it's not, like, initially when I was looking at it, in terms of power and everything, it kind of looked good. I'm not saying they're doing something unfair. It's still 4 versus 4, same amount of kingdoms being locked out, but 1034 plus 1647 plus 1079, these three kingdoms combined, I don't think 1664 and 1307 got what it takes to hold them. Not that they're bad KDs or anything, but they're not like the top grade KDs when it comes to, say, 1960, maybe 1365, maybe 1254. They're not really in that grade, 1307. So similar to Lambeau's comments, I don't think they have it. But then again, you know what do I know? This can go weird and we can be proven wrong. But then, you know what that brings us to, though? That brings us to our question about how nowadays, in a way, with the autark reward system, you'll be unwise to take KvKs where you're not getting that reward, because that'll have so much consequence, more so than what it used to have, in terms of your OL, for example. 1v being, you know, extremely focused on OL. Why would they take a KvK where, you know, it doesn't make sense for them? So the question for you guys, starting with Pluto, would be, how do you see two big camps sharing autark rewards? So say, for example, in this KvK, if 1034, 1647, these two being the bigger KDs, if they win, how do you think that they're going to share it?
Could you explain how Autark rewards work? Because I actually don't even know myself. Like, could you even share it? Like, what's the...
Yeah, camps can't share it. The rewards are going to go to the camp that controls the Zig at the end and their own Ruined Crusader fortress, right?
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about the new system. I've just been so focused on my current KvK. But I think overall, like this new system is going to change how it's just going to make Diplo so hard. If you're a Diplo lead, I feel so bad for you, man. The Lilith made your job like 10 times harder with this Autark reward system, because this is practically the chase of the new system, right? Like the inscriptions, people are saying it's not even like the buffs that you get from the armaments themselves, but it's actually the inscriptions, the potential inscriptions, which you get from the Autark rewards, which is going to make like these Diplo situations really, really hard to kind of deal with. But yeah, I don't really know exactly how the Autark rewards work. I know there's like this Vindicator thing. Like, what's the? Could you explain to me like what the systems?
So one of the things Lord Stylo on the chat is saying is there should be a system where the 300 could be shared. Like, it's not allowed at this stage. So Stylo, I'm just saying that it's not allowed, but I'm reading out your recommendation. So at the moment, as Lampo said, what we understand is the winning camp, whoever holds the Zig at the end, the coalition leader will get 300 tickets or something that he can distribute. Now, it cannot be distributed outside the camp. But then what Lord Stylo on the chat was saying is, it'll be great if they don't create a situation where it's just the last camp holding the Zig, but if they had the situation as if a camp holds their own, what's it called, Ruined Crusader Fortress, on top of that they get a touch on the Zig, then the last coalition leader could be able to, distribute. Now, we know that that's not the case. We are pretty sure Lilith is not going to do that. If that's the case, then, like, what do you think the big KDs should do? Like, say, for example, 1254 going into the next KvK, if you're in the same pop with 1254, then it's guaranteed that allied or enemy, you're not gonna get the Zig, you're not getting Autark. So as a kingdom, the next one you just shouldn't go. And what that does is make sure that we're not gonna have these big special KvKs anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the way that it'd be distributed would be the way that most rewards are distributed. It's just based off of contribution through deads and KP. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be super tough because some people might be like, oh, your kingdom's feeding KP, or like you're throwing T1 Siege into X or Y. So I really don't know how like Diplo is gonna really do things, but yeah, I mean, it'll be pretty interesting for sure.
Do you have that map you can bring up again, maybe of the 365 KvK?
Yep. So we can do this. Let me zoom out. So do you want the map, or will this do?
My thought here is this, right? Okay, and we'll use this 365 1960 1093 KvK as an example.
Yeah.
With the new reward system that's in place, there is nothing to prevent the 4 biggest, most powerful camps from allying and saying, hey, we're going to wipe out these smaller camps, not let them into Kingsland, and then the 4 of us are going to battle it out in Kingsland for these final rewards. And that's how I envision diplomacy going in the future. It's not going to be 4 versus 4, a fair matchup. It's going to be the 4 most powerful camps eliminating the 4 weakest camps, at least in Strife for the 8, and then battling in Kingsland for the final rewards. And that could be very interesting, but then if you're in one of those other 4 camps that gets locked out of Kingsland, it could piss you off to no extent, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like with this new system, I think more than ever, like Strife VA is going to be super unpopular, and people are just going to want to go to HAs and take easy HAs to get these rewards, because you double your chances going into HA versus Strife, because there's half the camps. So yeah, I mean, it'll create a really weird dynamic for sure.
Yep. Well, to your point, Ploto, so 2489 did sign up for the HA. So the last pop, we signed up for the HA, and then Lilith came back saying no match found, which I don't understand. We're not a big Imperium or anything, but we just didn't get a match. But then, yeah, that was our intention.
I think you guys are pretty big. I think you guys are pretty big, and
I mean, a lot of spenders.
2489.
But then, you know how Lilith kind of does it based on the top 300 players, right? So if you count that, then we're like 1v level, which is pretty big. But by not big enough, what I meant is not 1365, 1093, or 1254 level, for example. Okay. So like a one alliance situation. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so all valid comments. Now moving on to Beast. So Beast, how do you see this autark reward being distributed, and what do you think it does to the game, or what's a better way of handling this?
I don't like it. I said it in the last podcast. Also, I don't know that only one camp can get the rewards, and I don't know if it's now the whole camp or 300. I didn't understand it clearly. Doesn't matter that. Overall, just one camp can get it, and 7 or 3 other camps cannot get it. You know, it's I don't know. It's overall. I don't have a good feeling with the future KvKs on that point, because it's Ark teams, like Limbo said in the chat. You know, the inscriptions gonna be so important for them, like for 1v. For 60GT, for the Ark teams, right? For the Osiris teams. These inscriptions, also if it's just one per KvK, but it can make a huge diff for these Osiris League teams, and they're gonna aim for it. And I don't have a good feeling that this will gonna destroy the whole, I don't know, big fun KvKs, because many players think then, okay, then I'm gonna migrate to a lower seed kingdom to have a chance to get the D seed. In a DC to get the autark rewards. I don't know. I don't like overall the systems behind that. If it would be like that the winning side can get that, so like that 4 camps can get it, okay, fine. You know, when just something what the whole team can fight for it. But that only one camp can get it, I don't know, it's just...
one camp and 300 players. Man, it's not even the whole camp, right? It's 300 players.
Yeah, then it's the word. So, like, basically, you shit, like what Lilith did here. They shit on over Imperium Kingdom. No, I don't care if they listen to it. I don't care, bro. They shit on the over Imperium Kingdom. Only 300 people can get the access to the autark rewards for getting these fucking inscriptions. For I don't know. It's
yeah.
It's not even a whole camp. What the fuck, bro? Like the camp is winning, and then only 300 people getting it. Like who, bro? It's just a punch into the face for all Imperium kingdoms, and because it's only 300, I'm pretty sure a lot of first of all, like Night King, backstabbing KvKs will be. Yeah, I don't know. Like the future KvKs can be backstabbing. A lot of the big Imperium's gonna split, and all the people go to newer kingdoms for a lower seed. So they have access to be in the one of the 300, right? It's I don't know. It's will just destroy overall the whole fun big Imperium KvKs, what we all like to watch and not like to participate in. Yeah, I don't know. That is my opinion on that, and I will not change until they change the system behind that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use this example, the account that I have in 1365. So for this account, because I got a separate main account, I don't really like. I know that obviously I'm not gonna get autark rewards or anything in 1365, which I don't mind because I got a main account where I'm kind of hoping that I will. But then let's say if you are not stupid like me, where you kind of play with 2 accounts, if you're a normal person focusing on one main account and all that, and if you're an average spender, this is how your account would be. And that basically says that you shouldn't really then play in a big kingdom anymore. So with an account like this, like a 70 mil account with a low to free spending situation, like regardless of how much you want to play, let's say for example you support 1365, you love the guys in 1254, you want to play with Chizgul or 1093, one of the other bigger KDs as well. So what that does is it takes away the opportunity for the average player to experience a big kingdom in a way, which is why I kind of don't like this. Now guys, so coming back to this autark situation, so we know that Lilith is not gonna take the autark situation away. So one solution from each one of you guys, so if Lilith actually gave a shit about what you guys had to say, which they don't, but if they did, and you are on the phone with Lilith, what would you say, Beast? As in, change the autark reward to this, and then it still doesn't kill the game.
First of all, one could be make it possible for the whole winning camp who holding the Zig and not only 300 people. And even better would be if like the whole winning side could get access to it. So for example, you add that to the rewards when you take the enemy RCF, right?
Yeah.
Why is it not at like this? So like that everyone in the winning side team have a chance to get access to it. I don't know.
That definitely makes sense. So guys, the sentence we are taking from what Beast just said is, rather than Zig based, make the reward, autark reward, based on capturing enemy Ruined Crusader fortress. Yep. The counter side to that would be then it, like all 8 camps can kind of say that let's go around, let's just go around and take each other's, right? Like not that I would mind that. Let's have a fun KvK, and then at the end let's just all switch RCFs, and then we are all happy. So that's
then make 2. Yeah. I don't know, then make 2, but find a solution to make it fair. Yeah, I don't know, that only 300 people can get it. It's so unfair, especially for the Imperial Kingdom. Make it fair. I don't know, I don't get it. Like, like the overall system is pay to win, and you know, Wales can just pay the daily bundle, and they can get better stuff. And then they even make it not fair in the KvK that only 300 people get it. Make it fair overall. I don't know. I don't think. I don't get it. Why is it so hard?
Yep. Well, then moving on to Ploto then. So Ploto, 2 specific questions for you, mate. The first one is, what's your solution to this reward system? What do you recommend? That's the first question.
And first off, I've never heard Beast like that before. Like that's
demonetizing other people's streams like that.
I've never heard Beast like that. I read Limbo like that, but not Beast. That is interesting to hear. But this podcast is getting heated. I guess I'm just the only one that. I mean, maybe it's just because I just woke up, so I'm chilling. But but yeah, I think it'll be the way to make it fair. I mean, this is how they've been doing like premium awards, etc. in the first place. Is why limit the shop to, like specific autark coin things? Like maybe if they made it through like you get X or Y through a specific Crusader achievements, so that it feels like I feel like for these inscriptions, like this is what I kept talking back to in my video about how the system's super flawed. There's not any like sense of progression per se. Like there's no really like hey, I'm working on an armament. There's no like, oh, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. It's just like, hey, I got lucky with an armament. There's no like, I think the quote that I said was there's no chase, there's only chance, right?
Yep. So, no chase, no grind. Yep. Sorry, go on.
Exactly, right? And that's been like the staple, like the gameplay loop in Rise of Kingdoms. There's a chase for gold heads, there's a chase for materials, there's a chase for blueprints. And even though it's pay to win, at least it's satisfying when you craft a material, or satisfying when you expertise the commander. When you get an armament, it's just you feel a sense of relief rather than satisfaction. So I feel like the way that they made this system with the inscriptions at least it's not full RNG, but like there is an element of randomness in terms of like, hey, is my kingdom gonna ally with the X or Y, or like, you know, who we get meshed up with. I feel like one way that they could kind of improve the system in general is to make a chase, but specifically for the inscriptions and the inscription shop. You know, it could be some like exclusive like Crusader achievement or something, like something really hard to get. I don't know, get like X amount of KP, or get like X amount of honor, like, you know, like and then you get a shard, and then you could purchase it from the KvK shop that way, instead of just making it like, hey, your kingdom has to be the best of the best performer in the winning side. Like, there's so many like different variables that comes into being in the exclusive armament, in the exclusive Autark club, right? So instead of making it like, hey, you're selected by your kingdom, make it be like, hey, this is based off your own merit through the game. So maybe some form of like achievements based on what you've done throughout the KvK. I don't know, maybe it's like a trifecta of like, you get X amount of honor, you get X amount of kills, and you get X amount of deads or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, so in a way, I think that's what Lilith is hoping the Alliance leader will do. As in like going through those stats sort of situation as well. You could achieve this and that, but then at the same time, Lilith doesn't really make that easy, right? Like, as in how
I think
yep, sorry, go on.
I think it would also like just that way, it would not only be for those who won, or like just 300 people who capped the Zig, rather it just be whoever actually performed above and beyond throughout the KvK. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough system, because either way, it's either going to be unfair to free-to-play low spenders, or it's going to be unfair to... I mean, it already is unfair to free-to-play low spenders, but it's unfair to people that are spenders that are just in the unfortunate side of losing, or that are like the BA seeds in an Imperium KvK. So I don't know. Yeah.
So. Yeah, no.
Can I add something?
Sure, man.
What I just came into my brain when Plotter said free to play and low spender, that with the 300 players chosen by the leadership from the winning camp who holding the Zig, it's also again a punch in the face to free to play and low spender. Because how do they want to get this when all the whales and mid spender obviously gonna have more key points, more deaths, overall more improved stats, and of course they getting then the stuff because they have fight more for the kingdom. But at the other side, free to play and low spender have not that good matches like mid spender and whales. So and they have spent like all their resources, all their speed ups into that KvK to have a chance to win the Autark rewards, and then they're getting fucked because the whales and mid-spender have much more, because obviously they can fight more, because they have overall more speed-ups and resources. So even that the overall system from the armaments and the inscription is basically randomness and pay to win because of a bundle, on top of that, the chance of winning some inscriptions, it's also not possible for free-to-play and low spender, or not that easy, because it's only 300 people. So what the fuck? I better stop.
I think Beast, you gotta make a YouTube video about this, man.
You know what we need to do? We've got to make sure. We've got to make sure that Beast doesn't hang out with Lembo too much. He's sounding like Lembo now. So speaking of
bitter old man, right?
Speaking of Lembo, so Ben, what's your take on this? Yep.
Here's the change that I would make if I was Lilith. In Light and Dark, you get to select your allies.
Yep.
In Call of the Nile, you get to select your allies. Let's do the same thing for Heroic Anthem and Strife of the Eight. Make it so that you can select your allies within that kingdom or within that KvK, and all the allies at the end get a share of the rewards. Now, how those kings distribute the rewards between those various camps, I'm no math major, I'm no calculus person, but it can't be solely based on kills and deads. You have lots of players in these kingdoms that contribute in other ways than just getting kills and just getting deads. You have your map planners that draw out the maps and study each and every alliance resource spot on the map. You have your flag builders. You have your players who are up during the downtime holding off enemies when they attack your flags, and they may not get the crazy stats, but their contribution may be more important than a player with 5 billion kill points and 10 million deads. You know, you have leaders, R4s, R5s who are organizing events and organizing things, not just in KvK, but when you're outside of KvK, and they're contributing to the alliance as well. So leaders really, when they're distributing these rewards, they need to look at the big picture and not just the black and white, who are the top 300 dragon kill point players in this kingdom.
Man, you're getting... Hey, have we got the real Mad Phantom on the chat? We got Mad Phantom 307. You know
that's Mad Phantom.
Oh man, this is an honor. I'm really glad to see someone like Phantom on our stream. So very excited about that. But then, Lambert, what I was gonna say is that you're kind of giving excuses to people like Night King. So I hear that Night King, one of the leaders in 1365, without getting kills and deaths, these are the excuses he apparently uses to get all the rewards end of the day anyways, just because he's the leader. So I don't know. But anyways,
they're not excuses though. I mean, when I'm in kingdom leadership and I'm making decisions or planning things, it takes a considerable amount of time. And that's time I could be fighting on the field with my max crystal tech and 7 marches. You know, so there are contributions outside of kills and deads. That said, kills and deads can be manipulated as well. Right? And I'm going to use this as an example. Plato, please don't take it offensively. You know, the other day I'm watching Plato's stream and I hear somebody say, hey, if you don't have your deads yet, go attack or go swarm this alliance fortress. Well, what's the fucking point at that point in time? You've won Kingsland. It would be people going to get deads just to increase their deads, right? There needs to be a cutoff. You know, if you've won Kingsland and you're guaranteed the victory at the end, if people after that are swarming an alliance fortress just to get their deads up, those deads shouldn't count to any contribution score that they might have for the kingdom. Right.
Oh yeah, I mean, just to protect my KD. This is well, I think they already cut off the reward list. What we're trying to get deads now is to drop Imperium because we're still Imperium after KL. But yeah, there are a lot of KDs that they just run until the end of KvK, and then you get rewards for swarming a farm account in Zone 4. It's not really the smartest of things, but yeah, I think.
I mean.
To the point of that,
and I
right?
get it. I get it, right? It's just that's one comment that kind of stuck out in my head, and I know your kingdom leadership said then in your chat too. No, we've already taken the scans, and we're using these scans for whatever, right? Yeah. So I understand that you're trying to drop out of Imperium, but there are players in kingdoms who I see not on the field, but then it's the end of KvK. Shit, I need to get 1 million deads so that I can stay in this kingdom and benefit from the hard work and the backbreaking efforts of others who have stayed up for 30 hours straight and fought for this victory. And they'll go swarm a city, or they'll take a rally, or they'll be stupid and they'll take their deads in the open field just so they can get their deads up, or just so they can get their kills up, to stay in a kingdom where they're not exerting any effort to help them do a damn thing. And I'll end it at that.
Yeah, but then I'm not gonna let you end there, man. Though, so I'm gonna give you a couple of counter questions. So, say for example, someone like Phantom or someone like Baba, like it's one of their it's one of the perks of being so invested in the game, where you have the best equipment, best commanders and everything, and lots of troops as well. Why wouldn't you take a city rally? Like, yeah, you're getting deads, but then at the same time, what you're doing to the opponent is worse. So, say for example, even with my main account, if I take a rally, I'm going to trade positively. So, am I not draining just as much? Like, why would you take that run away?
It depends. There's a time and a place to do it, right?
True, yeah.
If you're random teleporting when the first zone opens and you're taking a rally at that time, that's a strategic play.
Yep.
But if you're random teleporting at the end of KvK just to increase your deads or increase your kills so that you can stay in the kingdom, that's a selfish move, and those players need to be told to get the hell out.
Yeah, I think the middle ground for that is the kingdom kind of declaring that this is done. Like, we took the last stat, and then that's it. And then after that, you can go and take your rallies and whatever. So I guess, so say for example, at the start, like, we saw Kang and a few other players obviously teleporting. So this is just for the viewers. So what Lambo is saying is bigger players obviously expected to port, and they're going to try to port around the enemy passes to make sure enemy can't reinforce. So during that stage, if they take a rally, that's not an issue. But then at the same time, when everything is settled, if Kang goes and teleports in an enemy territory, that kind of doesn't make sense. But the counterpoint I was trying to say is, if a big guy teleports here and he trades positively, like say for example, if Night King is the garrison for a flag, then we'll get negative trades, versus if I'm teleporting with my main account, I'm taking positive trades. So why is garrisoning Night King's flag make more sense? Am I not imposing to them more deaths by allowing them to take a city rally? They're taking all deaths. So how is that a bad thing?
Again, you have to look at it in the context of the entire KvK.
True.
If you're taking city rallies at the end of KvK when everything's said and done, there's no point to it other than to pimp your stats.
Yeah.
If you're taking city rallies in the beginning of a KvK, there might be a strategic advantage to that, to start killing off the enemy troops and draining them of resources.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, there's a huge big picture is what I'm trying to convey. It's not just about kills and deads. There's a lot of different ways people can contribute, and a lot of ways people can inflate their kills and deads to make it look like they contributed. And that's where kingdom leadership really has to have a firm grasp on the kingdom, understand the players in the kingdom, and look at the big picture. Is that going to piss some people off if they don't get rewards in the end? Absolutely. But at the same time, individual players who are not in leadership need to look themselves in the mirror and say, okay, what can I do differently? What could I have done better? And not point fingers and not be snowflakes and not say, oh, the leaders didn't give me this or the leaders didn't give me that, right? Yeah. And I get it. That's hard when you're in an Imperium kingdom and you're the 305th ranked player in the kingdom and you're a low spender and you're free to play, and it takes you twice as much effort, 3 times as much effort to get those gold heads as it does somebody who's buying them in the VIP shop every week. I get it. I understand. But that's a point in time where you might need to look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, is this kingdom with 300 high spenders really a kingdom that is going to benefit me long term, or do I need to look for something else?
Yeah. Now that does kind of make sense. Now, I don't know whether we are allowed to go back to Beast anymore. Do you think we should go back to Beast, ask him more questions, or we should let him cool down a little bit more, or Beast?
Yeah, I mean, it's a free-for-all here.
Yeah.
What's the question?
So now the next topic that we wanted to talk about, I guess, is if Lilith sticks with that hardline 300 approach and doesn't allow, I guess, sharing in the different sort of ways that you guys recommended, especially I guess the version that Lambo mentioned, that maybe going with a Night and Darkness or King of the Nile style Diplo situation, that probably resolved this. But anyways, if Lilith doesn't come to that conclusion, and I think you guys kind of mentioned that that'll be the end of the bigger kingdoms, it'll cause a lot of drama, and we are going to have a lot more acid kingdoms rather than, you know, the 1365s and 1254s, 1093s. Now, question for you, is that a bad thing, Beast? Do you think that helps the game? Do you think it makes it better or worse, and why?
I would say hard to say. I mean, if people split around from the Imperial Kingdoms and go to lower kingdoms, so these lower kingdoms, like getting two full alliances, I mean, if we're gonna have not more than 300, that would be better for the game if we don't have Imperial Kingdoms anymore. Actually, it's sad for the YouTube scene, for all the people who like to watch this big fights, you know. But if they not gonna remove like the system behind that you only 300 people can get it, when a lot of people will migrate out of the Imperial Kingdoms and go down to smaller kingdoms to have a chance to be one of the 300, especially free to play and low spender, even Wales maybe, Wales maybe, and I mean, it's not a bad thing, I would say, but the only bad thing from that would be just that we don't have the big fights anymore, the big clashes between all the kingdoms we know, you know, and that would be, for now, what I think about the only bad thing what would happen. So I would actually say overall it would be better than if the Imperial Kingdom's gonna split around when we stay with the 300 people who get the auto rewards.
So we got Pumba in the chat saying 1960. Pumba saying most kingdoms would probably aim towards a setup of 1960 or 1v, which is exactly what's happening here in 2489 as well. So moving on to Pluto now. So Pluto, what do you think is better, having the big Imperium KDs, or do you think it's better where there's more 1v style smaller KDs? What's better for the game and why?
I mean, I think in my opinion, like, it's like having these big Imperiums is not bad for the game, except for like the laggy aspect of it. But I think the death, or if big Imperiums die, it'd be actually really bad for the game. The reason being is, like, even though there's only 300 people that get Autark rewards or whatever XY, it's tough to, like, in a game, right? People don't want to feel like they have to do X or Y or change this or change that, migrate out just to play the game properly. I think if I don't know, like, if you're with a group of friends and then they all like want to stay in this KD, but it's like, I can't get Autark rewards, like, it's just gonna pull people apart more. And as a game that's all about community, I don't think any rewards or like any changes to the system should pull apart a community, which is why it's really tough, right? I think if anything, like, as I was harping to earlier, this system is going to screw over low spenders, free to plays, because if you're Kingdom smart, they're gonna go give all of the top contributors, or people that what do you call it? Like, they're gonna strategically give people that are garrison rally leads, that are have X or Y, that buy tech, because they could utilize the inscriptions and armaments and all that kind of stuff more. So with that being said, I think it's just going to be like, all right, people are gonna have to choose. What if you're in a big Imperium, or if your friends are in a big Imperium? People are gonna choose: should I work on my account, or should I play with the people I want to play with? And I feel like that's in general just bad for the game. You shouldn't feel like, hey, I can't get the same. Well, of course, there's already MGEs and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't have to feel like I have to migrate out just to get like a reward. Because MGEs, you could always get gold heads gradually from getting like MGEs happen a lot more frequently too than just like KvK rewards, right? So
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. I don't think the game design of having to migrate out just for your account and abandon abandon friends or abandon a community that you've been in for like a while should be endorsed in a game. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It'll be tough. I think overall it's bad for the game though, because there's already people quitting because of armaments and inscriptions and all that kind of stuff. There's already people feeling like the game's going dry, and then if you have to disband, take away friendships. And the thing is, like, I always harp back, if this game was single player, would anyone play it?
No.
Would anyone play Rise of Kingdoms if it was single player? Like,
yes.
I don't think anyone would be playing Rise of Kingdoms right now as single player. We play it for the people. We really do. And
$1,000 a month to kill barbs efficiently, right? Like, yeah. Hey, Ploto, I actually think you'll still play, man. As long as they let you barb chain, I think you'll still play. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'll probably just go back to whatever I was playing before Rise of Kingdoms. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Lembu, what's your take on that? As in, do you think it's better to have lots of 1Vs, or do you still want to see the 1365s around?
Well, I mean, let me start by saying this. Every single player in the game, whether they're a high spender, whether they're in 1960 playing in a top seed 1254 type kingdom, a low spender free to play, at the end of the day, they need to decide why they're playing this game. Are they having fun? If they're still having fun playing in a big ass Imperium kingdom, with people that they like, with people that they're friends with, then who cares about the rewards? Just keep having fun, right? Mm-hmm. If you're the type of player who wants to compete at the highest level beyond the top tier Osiris League teams, and get those rewards, then, and that's how you have fun, and that means you might need to move to another kingdom, then that's something that you got to explore at the end of the day as well. If you're like me and play in a D kingdom and you get all the rewards. I mean, hell, our 300th power player is only at 4 million, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm in a small kingdom, but I'm not here for rewards. I'm here because the people I play with are good friends of mine, and whether I'm playing this game or not, the friendships that I have made here will last a lifetime. I will be friends with these people for the rest of my life, whether Rise of Kingdoms exists or not. And that's the kind of environment I want to play in. Now, it just so happens that yes, I'm a big fish in a small pond, and I do get a ton of shit for playing here. That's a side benefit. But even if I was in Imperium Kingdom, if I had these people playing with me, I'd stay there, even if I wasn't getting the rewards, because these are my friends, right? So Plato makes a good point. And at the end of the day, every person has to decide for themselves, why are they playing this game? And make their decisions accordingly. Now, do I think big Imperiums are going to have issues and have problems if these rewards can only be distributed to the top 300? Absolutely. I mean, the first thing kings are going to look at isn't stats. It isn't who kisses my ass. It's going to be, who are my rally leads? Who are my garrison captains?
Yeah.
100%.
Because that's going to benefit the kingdom as a whole long term to get those people their inscriptions. And that might then change the focus of how free-to-plays operate. In the past, many streamers, including myself, have said, yeah, if you're free to play, there are other people to lead rallies, there are other people to lead garrisons. You might want to look at then getting some garrison commanders so you can fill a secondary flag or fill a tertiary flag, that's maybe touching somebody else's territory. It may change how free-to-play players operate and how they play the game, but again, it all depends. If they do implement armaments, formations, inscriptions in Ark of Osiris eventually, the second thing people are going to be looking at is, okay, who are my Osiris League team players?
Yeah.
Is that necessarily right or wrong? It depends on the kingdom you're in and what their focus is. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for a lot of people. There are going to be more people quitting this game before new people come in. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out.
So in Ark of Osiris, that's a good point that you brought up. So the the armaments doesn't have any impact on Ark yet, but then at the same time, the formation system is there from what I heard, right? So whilst you have formations, it's going to be... So apparently formation is coming like soon. I'm not too sure. As in formation is going to be there. That's what I heard for Ark. Is that not the case?
It's not in it yet. So until Lilith makes it happen.
Yeah. But then because it's there, like we can assume that it's going to be there for sure, like in the near future. So the dilemma that I may have is, say for example, how you were saying that rally leaders and garrison leaders, obviously that's how MGs are done in bigger KDs in a way, and that's probably going to be the case with armaments as well. But the difference between MGs and armaments would be, in terms of MGs, the commanders that you're getting, you can live without them for field fighting. It doesn't really impact you as much. But then the segregation of rally leaders getting all the KvKs inscriptions and non-rally leaders not getting it, there's gonna be a little bit of an issue with that. So in 2489, for example, if I look at individual kills, so I'm 57 in a KD with Baba 4 and all those people. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be meeting my requirements. That's not an issue to be within the 300. But then if I wasn't in 2489, where 300 is well within, like at 300 we're looking at farm accounts here. But then if this account was in 1365 or 1254, which could have happened, then if they went with the rally leader theory, because I'm not a rally leader, that means I shouldn't go to those kingdoms because I can't get the inscription, because I'm not guaranteed to be within the 300, regardless of whether I meet the stats or not. Because in those kind of big kingdoms, as Lambo was saying, it could be the situation that, well, we've got to think about the kingdom. But then whilst I'm thinking about the kingdom, if I don't have those, and in future when that's introduced in Ark, then I'm not going to be in the Ark team either, because, I don't have the inscriptions. So it's like, it's in a way, it's kind of bad.
A snowball effect for sure.
Yeah. It's a roll-on effect. But then at the same time, I actually don't mind, in a way, the way I look at it is, so if you think about the Premier League or any sports league, so I'm gonna use Premier League, EPL, because I kind of watch that. So basically, it's like the financial fair play over there. So if you look at clubs like Chelsea and the bigger ones like Real Madrid, then they're more European, not necessarily EPL. But look at Chelsea as an example, with the financial fair play and everything. They can't hire, they can't recruit, they couldn't buy out of their depth, as in they couldn't borrow money to buy, or Roman Abramovich couldn't fund it anymore and things like that. And then now with Man City, something similar as well. So what it does is, in a way, rather than having massive clubs like Man City and Chelsea, it kind of enforces a lot of clubs like Everton, and that's where this is going. Like, you're gonna have a lot of mid-range, closer kingdoms versus having few kingdoms that are gonna win everything. So in a way, I actually don't mind the 300 system. I actually like it because it's gonna stop big Imperium kingdoms. I mean, I obviously enjoy playing in 1365, and from a YouTube point of view, having those kingdoms definitely makes sense. But I actually feel from a gaming point of view, overall, like 30, if the big kingdoms doesn't exist, you're gonna have 20 or 30 kingdoms that are gonna be 1v style, and they're gonna be somewhat equally matched. And those KvKs are going to be more excited. And the worry that we had about free to play and all that, if I look at the ranking situation again, individual power, so we're Imperium. If I look at Imperium power, individual power, at 300, we should be, let me check, we should be well below 50. Or I may be wrong, but let me double check. 300 is 41, yeah. 300 is 41. That 41 is a farm account. So in a way, if you're free to play, then there's that no Imperium, like there's nothing called Imperium anymore. But then naturally there won't be any Imperium KDs because 1365, 1254, 1093 has to split. If they split, then being Imperium is not an issue, and in that case there could be more free-to-play players that could be fit in the 1960 and 1v and 2489 style KDs, and there's going to be no lag. So in a way, I don't mind it, if that makes sense. Not that you guys have to agree, but do you guys kind of see what I'm saying, Clodo?
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, it's more so just like thinning out the it's just going to be the most competitive rather than just having. I mean, I think what Pumbaa's saying is a bit extreme, like the free to play is crying on the side, but there are a lot of people that are just like, I don't know, like they don't fit within the top 300. So I guess like just putting in all those players in one spot and then having specific like teams in a way, instead of Imperiums. But I mean, tough to say.
And then the free-to-play side of things, as in, just to clarify, just because I said something where I'm saying what Lilith did isn't the end of the world, doesn't mean I don't hate Lilith, doesn't mean Lilith doesn't hate me. But then what it kind of does is, like, in a way, Lilith already killed free-to-play the day they got Crystal Tech. The first day was when they took the healing help off, for which we never got an explanation. The second thing was Crystal Tech. So nothing that Lilith has done Crystal Tech is worse. So, like, free-to-play, like, if you're free-to-play, why you're playing this is beyond me already. So you should go and look for a better game. Like, this is not your game anymore. The Lilith doesn't love you. So that's Crystal Tech is when you should have quit. That's how I see it, I guess. So this is not a free-to-play topic for me. Now, guys, you're gonna say something, Eddie. Like, I'm saying random things. You can disagree.
So, why are people who not spending playing this game? Like, what is the reason behind that? So, for me, is it because of a unique style for a mobile game? Mm-hmm. You know, I like the feature that you can move your marches on the open field manually, and not just sending a march to enemy city to hit it and then the march automatically go back. I think that is one of the features why we all love this game, right? Because of the unique style in the fighting. And I mean, that is a mobile game you can play everywhere, right? So free to play and low spender, if they have time, they can go in, blah, 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 you know. But Lilith making choices in the last months what forced free to play and low spender to stop playing the game because they have no fun anymore. You know, so for example, I will not spend anymore in that game. I said I'm gonna be a mid spender. I don't spend now. For now, if they don't change, the way how they do updates, I will not spend anymore. You know, because I feel like they're forcing the people away from playing the game and just looking more and more for the money. Sorry, but that's how I feel. And for free-to-play and low spender, is that a no-go? You know, like you said, with the healing cap and then the quiz attack, and now these randomness, like if you would play in a casino with its fucking armaments and inscription, and that only 300 players get it. I mean, okay, we can get kingdoms like 300 pay to win against 300 pay to win, fine. But for me, for example, me as a low spender at the moment, or free to play, I love still to play in this big KvKs. I love that, you know. I love these clashes of that many marches on the open field. But all the update, all the features, what they're bringing out, force me, for example, as a low spender, to think about if I still want to play in a big Imperium Kingdom. You know, I don't want to leave 38, but all these decisions, what they're making, forcing me to think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one with that, probably. And we need to say that most of the player base is free to play and low spender, not the whales, not the mid spenders. It is free to play and low spender who keep that game alive. And I don't know. It's yeah.
Now I understand, man. A few questions from chat. WhatsApp is saying, why so many farm accounts in 89 VC? Because two alliances combined, we want to have one alliance in KvK. So because we got all this space and we're not allowing players to come in to the kingdom, so that's why farm accounts, we don't mind if they're there. So we got quite a few farm accounts. Robert, as free to play, can sell resource and buy Crystal Tech Ladus Gaming. That's the secret. Yeah, I think that kind of happens, so we can live with that. Ichi, if you're in a good kingdom, the good organization, you can have fun free to play when it comes to field fight. Yep, I guess you just have to keep in mind that you're not playing for the rewards. John R is one of those people, and the reason is a mix of game style, the unlimited grinding I can do on a low-end device without a bunch of other people, and there are no good games in the market in this niche. John, I completely agree with you, and this is what Beast was saying as well. So, and I actually said that many times myself in previous streams as well. If there was another game, the reason why Lilith could be a bitch is because there's nothing else out in the market that offers this experience. At the same time, this is not too far away where other sort of games kind of catch up as well. Night King, the problem is the company needs to generate revenue. Free to play don't keep the game alive, the pay to win players, unfortunately, and the game wouldn't be alive if there was no generating revenue. Yeah, that's kind of true as well. Now, free to play, and speaking of free to play and spenders, actually speaking of spenders, guys, so what you can see on the screen is we have only a few gold chests from Baba. Not that many. Let me show you the numbers. So we got 25 gold chests. Actually, it was 26. Accidentally, I clicked open one. But either way, you got 25 gold chests, which we're gonna open, and then based on whatever we did, we got like 3 alliance reward coming as well. So we started off at I don't know, 17 or 18 gift level, and we're 26 now. This is what Baba does to you. Now, moving on from Baba.
Let's just gold chests, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great for an Imperium Kingdom, right? But that leads to players then going there specifically for the gold chests. You have to look at it in perspective as well. 26 gold chests in an Imperium Kingdom is like 3 gold chests in a very low seed kingdom. It gets you just as far, 26 gold chests, healing, speed ups, resources, whatever it is when you're fighting, that maybe 3 gold chests would in a low seed kingdom. So,
True.
There are people out there who chase gold chests, but you gotta keep it in perspective.
At the same time, man, I'm gonna agree with you on the speed up side of things, but then when it comes to the VIP points, which is what as like a leecher I look at,
as a leecher, as a fellow leecher, this is what I look at.
This is what I look at. So
point.
VIP, when the next one comes in, the 3 in a non-Imperium wouldn't take me to VIP 27, right? So But yeah,
it makes sense. You're talking to a VIP 18 that probably has enough to get to VIP 20. So that makes perfect sense.
So you can get there yourself, man. Me and Pluto did the chests.
I'm just down here at VIP 17, just trying to claw my way up in this the VIP 18 world.
Guys, why do you have a VIP 17 on voice? VIP 17 shouldn't have any voice. Pluto, you just type from now on. You don't get to be on voice anymore. Level up.
It's funny though. Yeah, before when I was in call with Red and Ruz, they were playing Soroli Crisis or whatever. It's like super hard now. Yeah. They saw like someone with less than 230 is like 210. It's like, oh my gosh, I have a non-VIP 18. I got to dodge. I'm like, damn. That's the standard, I guess, now, VIP 18.
Can I add something to the comment from Night King?
Of course.
So what I have mean with that free-to-play and low spender keeping the game alive is from the community aspect, not from the money making, of course. Without the whales and mid spenders who's spending so much money in the game could not survive because the server and all that stuff costs. That's clearly. But from the community aspect, most of the players are free-to-play and low spender, and they keeping the community alive because they are much more, right? They without them, we would have not that big community like we have right now.
Yeah,
and
the thing is, who is Baba gonna smash, right? The question is, who is Baba gonna smash? So, if there's no free-to-play, why did Baba Baba need to smash someone? And that's where free-to-play comes in. Am I saying it wrong, Pluto? I mean, sorry, Beast.
Yeah, exactly. The weights have like if only the weights and mid-spender would be in the game, that would be the player base would be so less, and it would be like I don't know, it would be probably like a South League fighting, like only 50 people, 100 people. But for free-to-play and low spender, keep it up to like 1,000 or something, marches on the open field. And that's what makes the game so interesting because of so much strategies you can make, the murder boards, the terrain that you can use, and all that stuff. What you can plan in the leadership with that many marches, like if you have a murder board of 50, 100 marches, a whale cannot run into it because he's just getting swarmed around. So the free-to-play and low spender are so important to keep the game alive, and if Lilith don't look that they keep the updates somehow also free-to-play and low spender friendly, that they still enjoy the game and still continue playing the game and don't feel like they getting with every update, with every new feature, a punch in their face, then okay, but at the moment for myself, I'm free-to-play low spender, something like that. And I feel with every update what they bring out, the Chris Attack, Healing Cap, now the Armament, I feel like every time a punch in the face,
Now, speaking of punch in the face, so because you're kind of excited about this topic and you're representing the free-to-play side a little bit more than the others, maybe Beast, and you're kind of German as well, and you demonetized my stream already. So I'm gonna use an example which is gonna be very inappropriate, but since it's demonetized anyways. So how I see it, man, is how and I know that German doesn't equal to Hitler, and I know the difference, and I know he's a bad guy. It's not the nation, but I know you're German as well.
Demonetized right now.
It's already demonetized with all the F words and everything. So this is how I see it. So how before Hitler did all the bad things that he did within the country. I'm not even talking about the the World War and everything. With the Jewish situation, like everything that he did, unspeakable things. Before he did all of that crap, he actually wrote a book about it, Mein Kampf, right? Like he wrote there, what? This is the problem of the country. This is what we're going to do about those people. But then he somehow still got elected, and then he slowly got worse over time and, did all those things. So in terms of punch in the face, and this is what I was watching a documentary about, and then people were kind of saying that there's a reason. It's not that the Jewish people kind of didn't see that coming. They did. But then because there was, the world was a different place, it wasn't like everyone equal and all that. So they thought this is the phase, this is going to go over, and then they still kind of stuck around. And then people like Einstein, smart people, left the country and went to the States and, made the bomb and everything. And then made, Lampew and Pluto happy people, biggest country and most powerful and all that. So this is the situation. If you're free to play, with the healing help and all that, Lilith the Hitler already said, you know what? I don't love you. I don't give a shit about you.
How did I know you were going there, man?
They already said, we don't like you. We don't want you here. Go fucking find another game. And then you still play. You're still playing.
Well, hold on. So, yeah, the game is unique with fighting style. But if they're not stopping that, then they still forcing them to go away. Because if free-to-play and low spender don't have a chance to win stuff, to improve their account, for how can they then keep up on the open field and enjoy the fights? That's the point. What I try to say. If they don't get the stuff, if they don't get rewards, if they, for example, the best example is that 300 limit. So if they don't have the opportunity to get something for their contribution in KvK or in events, for what or how can they improve their account then in the future with more stuff coming out and still enjoying the game? That's the point, And with the current way, it's not like that. Free to play and low spender have it more and more harder to survive in that game. That's what I try to say. And if they don't look that they keep that down and that they make it free to play and low spender friendly, that they still can enjoy the game, that they still can improve their account, then we're gonna lose a lot of Rise of Kingdom players.
So
that's my guess.
So what you're saying isn't wrong, but what I'm trying to say is you're talking to Hitler, man. You're talking to Hitler. You think common sense and fair play is going to make sense to them? Lilith doesn't, as Night King is pointing out, Lilith doesn't have a competitor. Just like in that period, Hitler didn't have anyone standing up to him. So that's the thing. So what you're looking at on the screen, guys, this is what I'm trying to say. This is to me, this is called Mein Kampf. This is what you're looking at. All these bundles, this is that book. This actually says this is not a free-to-play game. After that, if you're still talking about the free-to-play side of things, who are you kidding? Like, it's trying to say, what's the president before Churchill? Neville, right? Neville? I think Neville. So anyways, he went and he signed a paperwork with Hitler saying that, this secures peace in our times and, all that shit, assuming that he actually talked sense to free-to-play. Just talk sense to Hitler. So that's what you're trying to do, man. Like, free-to-play, this is beyond what Lilith cares about.
Oh, you completely thought.
Recently, there was another content creator named Dirty Dan Gaming.
Yeah.
He did a couple of videos on a new game called Era of Glory. It was a limited release for a little bit there, but it has a lot of the same free movement as Rise of Kingdom does. I guess it looks very similar. I'm not trying to say people should go and download that game and quit playing Rise of Kingdoms by any means, because I want people to fight against myself. But, being a free-to-play, being a low spender is, I'm sure, very tough. You have to grind 3 times as hard. You have to do things 10 times as smart as a Baba or an MF or a Mad Phantom or somebody who can throw a ton of money at this game, right? It can still be done though. There are players who do it on a daily basis. In my kingdom, we have a number of free-to-play players that thrive. I've seen players like 12-inch who do things very, very smart, very planned out, and thrive where he is at.
At the same time, so you saw the 12-inch videos though, right? Like 12-inch talking about and the outbursts that he had with Lilith, with the healing speed up and, every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, a lot of the decisions Lilith makes greatly impact free-to-play players. I'm not saying they don't.
Can I bring something to on the table?
Yes.
Pluto was making a video, about the armaments and all that. Why is it so shit? And where he said that before that system, free-to-play low spender was having a way to get the stuff. They say, okay, I want this legendary equipment, so I need to do that event and need to shame barbarians to getting more material. They was having a way to get what they wanted to have. But for example, with a new system from the armament and all the randomness, it will just kill the motivation for free-to-play and low spender to do that, or to try to improve their account, for example. I just randomly logging in, doing that shit, and then just don't look on the stuff what I get, because I don't know. I don't want to spend every day 1 hour or 2 hours and looking what can I improve on the armaments, because I want to have that what I'm aiming for. The equipment, for example, of course, that can make a huge diff between pay to win and free to play. But the free to play know what they get. You get the point what I'm saying? And for example, the new system just kill that. The free to play and low spender don't have a motivation or not a goal to go for, because they know that is random. So and I don't know, systems like that will just force more and more free-to-play and low spender to stop the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few comments on the chat around how. So there's two sort of things. Rather than reading out individually all the comments, guys, the summary that we have from chat is, firstly, there's a lot of free-to-play players that actually enjoy playing the game. So yeah, true, definitely, there's a lot of free-to-play players, and I don't know, there's a lot of free-to-play players we enjoy playing the game. There's a lot of spenders that doesn't enjoy playing the game. But then in general, overall, it's harder, like a lot of grinding. And as some of you guys are saying, that if you want to play as a free-to-play and compete at the top level, you want to play in the bigger teams. Say, for example, if you're free-to-play, you're very unlikely to experience. Maybe you can experience the KvK side of things, but Osiris League, like there's not going to be a free-to-play team that's going to be going deep into the championship. So it just doesn't work that way. And with all the new systems, one by one, Lilith is increasing the gap even more. That's what we were trying to highlight. That's what Beast was kind of saying. And where I was being, a little bit of a drama queen was where I was saying, well, Lilith just doesn't care. So, like, say, for example,
that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, that has been a problem for such a long time. From my point of view, what I do is when I'm streaming myself, like in terms of a free-to-play question, I just don't go into that conversation anymore. This is not a free-to-play game. That's it. That's how I see it. But then, yes, you can. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
But for example, with a quiz attack, of course, it's a huge punch in the face for free-to-play and low spender. But it's something they can grind on. You can shame barbarians, you can kill the forts, you get quizzes for that, so you can grind on that. They have a goal. They know if they do that, if they spend time on chaining barbarians and getting overall more quizzes with that, then that they can improve their quiz attack, for example. But with the randomness, what they have added into the game with the armaments and inscription, that is not a good future. Doesn't matter if it's for whales, mid-spender, free-to-play. It's overall shit with randomness. But before with stuff, there was gold, there was motivations to grind it. If they want to have equipment, they can grind on it. There's a motivation, but with the randomness, it just kill overall.
Yeah.
And why? Sorry. One comment.
Yeah.
And why I saying it kills more free-to-play and low spender. it's just because the Mistspender and Wiz have the opportunity to spend every day on the armaments with the bundles. So, you know,
So,
of
hang
course,
on, time out.
of course. No, hold on.
I get. Go ahead.
Of course, you can be unlucky and get nothing like for 1 week, 2 weeks. Of course, but there is a higher chance overall that you get better armaments and inscription with buying the bundles. That's what I try to say here.
So I've been getting that bundle daily. I missed 2 days since armaments dropped, and MF has been getting that bundle daily since armaments dropped. And there are 2 things that I have that MF doesn't. 1, better armaments, and 2, the cow sunglasses emoji. Right? It because of the randomness that's involved, you could have a free-to-play player that does his daily travels that gets better stuff than somebody who's buying that bundle daily. That's due to the randomness. Is it frustrating to see things pop and have it, you know, siege gathering, especially on a wedge formation legendary armament? Absolutely. But the chase is half the fun, in my opinion. I don't mind armaments. I actually like them.
Yeah, of course, but the randomness just kills the fun, because you have no grind on it, you have no motivation on that. It's just randomness. With all the other stuff in the game, crystal tech equipment, doesn't matter. There's a grind behind that. There's a motivation behind that for every type of player to go for it. So if they add more randomness to the game, that will just kill overall the fun in the game, in my opinion.
Well, someone's asking, where is this discussion going? So, guys, the track and the flow of the discussion, I kind of ruined it by, you know, bringing in history and all that. But then, I think it's to do with where we are thinking, where it kind of ended for free to play already. So, in summary, Beast was saying it's getting worse over time. And from my end, I was just saying that it ended when Crystal Tech came in. That's it. That's all the argument about. So, like, we don't have to have a closure to it, because obviously Beast and I can have separate opinions, and it doesn't. You guys don't even have to agree with either. So it's, you know, up to everyone. But then, at the sake of time and the fact that we are 1 hour 43 minutes into it, and we were kind of thinking to wrap it up within an hour and a half or so. So let's aim for a different sort of ending. So rather than talking about the free-to-play situation, I think our main topic was what makes, you know, how can we make KvKs better and so on. So we talked about matchmaking, we talked about 1307, 1365 and all that. I think we, in a way, talked about the role that free-to-play has quite extensively. What can leadership to do to distribute Otak rewards and all that, what we expect out of, you know, Lilith and all that. Now, the last question, rather than talking about Lilith and all that, so say, for example, in light of the different type of KvKs that we have so far, and we had previously, which KvK, so we're going to start with Ploto. So Ploto, which is your favorite KvK type, and then how can you make that type even better?
Yeah, my favorite KvK type is actually Strife V8. I played 1 HA, for context. I played 1 HA and 2 Strifes. My account's kind of new, just got into SOC 3 KvKs ago, but yeah, I mean, Strife is really fun. The most fights for sure. You get way more KP. There's way more kingdoms involved, which makes it more. You get to, like, especially as a content creator, you get to meet more people. There's a lot of people, like, they just want to come in and watch their KD and watch how, you know, the enemies or their allies play. So Strife is super fun because I got to meet a lot of people from both the channel and in game, from playing Strifes with and against people. One thing though that's really tough about Strife is every zone 6, there's always gonna be, it's either gonna be a free zone or it's gonna be a 1v2. There's no, so if you check the map for Strife, right, there's 3 kingdoms can enter a zone 6, like each zone 6, which is really tough because when 3 kingdoms enter zone 6, that means it's either going to be a 1v2, a 2v1, or free, or all of them are allied. You know what I mean? So if there's a way where they could, I don't know how exactly they would do this, but somehow make zone 6s like have an even amount of KDs instead of an odd amount. So instead of 3, maybe like 2 or 4. I feel like that makes Strife a lot more strategic rather than or like make zone 6s a lot more fair, I guess, because most of the time it's going to be a 1v2. I mean, all the time it's going to be a 1v2 unless it's a free for all. But overall, Strife is super fun. Like you do use a lot of resources, you do use a lot of TPs, but if you're talking about like the core gameplay experience and being able to fight, and there's multiple zones where you could build into, outside, like every single zone is like you build into it. So like zone 5, zone 6, and then Kingsland. It's not like, you know, HA where you have zone 5 and then Kingsland. I mean, HA does have zone 5 and Kingsland, but I don't know. I think Strife is just a really fun experience from what I've experienced for the past 2 KvKs. So yeah,
sounds good, man. So moving on to Lambo, mate. What's your favorite KvK type, and how can we even make it even better?
Personally, I like Heroic Anthem. I like the bastions that give skills. I like it mainly because I play in a much lower seed kingdom. I think we're ranked 1,613th as far as power goes in all the Rise of kingdoms. So a very low seed geek kingdom. We have about 30 highly active players who fight 24/7 when there's fighting. So it's very hard in a Strife of the 8 when there's fighting pretty much 24/7, 7 days a week, to maintain our work, life, game, family balance and still do as much fighting as you need to do to win a Strife of the 8. So I like Heroic Anthem. It's, in my kingdom anyway, it's 2 or 3 days of solid fighting every time a gate opens, and then there's a bit of downtime before the next pass opens. It's how I enjoy playing this game. You know, to make it better, I think I would like to see a lower number of small kingdoms in a Heroic Anthem. You know, our last HA, we had 20 kingdoms in it. The Strife of the 8 we were in before had 32 kingdoms in it. That makes diplomacy absolute pure hell. There are way too many egos involved. There are way too many players involved. Oh, well, we weren't part of the coalition when you took this past 4. I missed out on 3 3-hour speed ups and 500 gems. You know, and it's like, suck it up, Buttercup. You know, so I would like to see fewer kingdoms in lower seed Heroic Anthems. And if that means you make the map smaller, then you make the map a little smaller. You know, but Lilith has to cater to players in lower seed kingdoms as well, not just the players in the top 20, top 30 kingdoms based on power and spending, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Beast, man, which is your favorite type of KvK, and how to make it better?
That's hard to say because the only Xenoconquest KvK I played so far was HA. So I don't know how the others are. So I actually go back and say KvK 2. Maybe some disagree here now, but I like the system from that. But you have like your new commanders, no crit attack, 8 kingdoms who are fighting against each other. Easy, you know. I like that format. It's kind of it's not, you know, like over time it can get boring, of course. But I think KvK 2 was until now the best one what I have played. Maybe that opinion gonna change in the future if I play other Xenoconquest formats. SO8, for example. But yeah, I it's not like I don't like the system from Season of Conquest. I do, but I cannot compare them because I haven't played them. You know, I just have played 2 times HA until now, so I compare until now only the Kingdom format what I have played, and so far I have enjoyed the most the KvK 2. Yeah, that's my answer.
Kind of makes sense. Yeah, well, from my point of view, similar to what Lambo was saying, definitely HA for me. Because with less kingdoms involved, less likely to lag, firstly. Secondly, easier to deploy and all that. The main thing, the 2 things that I would love to see within HA, the first one is the fog being gone. Like, I don't know what the fog achieves. So why have it? It's just too boring. That's the first thing, and the second thing would be, I guess, having sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I actually forgot there's fog in HA. I haven't played HA in a while, man.
And
I forgot what it's like to fog things, defog things.
And Lampo as VIP 20 is saying that he does get a fog clear bundle for $99.99. So for about $100, he does buy the fog clear bundle. But you guys obviously don't see that. You got to be VIP 20 to see that.
If Lilith incorporates my idea to sell a clear the fog bundle in the game, I expect 10%. My lawyers will be contacting you.
So that's that. But yeah, the fog, and then maybe having like a light and darkness style matchmaking system, like what they kind of sort of did with King of the Nile. So I didn't get to play it, but when I watched it, so that long time is not a bad thing. So it's good to see Lilith is kind of going towards that direction. But then for some reason the map is weird and a lot less fighting. So maybe like the life balance commitment, but still fun. For me, the middle ground is HA. And the best thing is no kingdom gets locked out, and that's kind of depressing when a kingdom gets locked out in general for that kingdom, I would say. So guys, that's all that we had for today, I would say. So we're just gonna go around for last comments. So Lambi, starting with you, any last comments about everything that we discussed?
You mentioned it in chat, but I just thought of another thing. The other thing, I think Lilith really needs to take a cold, hard look at their matchmaking. In our last Heroic Anthem, we had kingdoms playing in their first season of Conquest against kingdoms in their 8th, 9th, or 10th season of Conquest. It really creates an unfair advantage for some kingdoms.
Yeah.
So they need to take that into consideration when they do the matchmaking. Secondly, my biggest issue with Imperium Kingdoms is the way they get migrants in. You're asking players to kill troops and drop their power to bring in players that you're only judging based on their kills and deaths. There's more to a player than simply kills and deaths, and you're asking players who are contributing and willing to do anything for your kingdom now, who are in the kingdom now, to kill troops so you can bring in these players that are quote-unquote unproven. That has been my problem historically with big Imperium kingdoms that constantly drop out of Imperium status to bring in unproven players. Works well for some. It's absolutely horrendous for others. So, I'll leave it at that. But check us all out in our own streams. If you haven't subscribed to us, click on the links in the description, the what is it called, the title of this, and go subscribe to us later.
Thank you for the Lambo. Next up, Pluto, any last comments, man?
Yeah, I mean, same thing as Lambo. Like, the matchmaking for my KvK is horrendous. We have Imperiums, A's, B's, C's, and D's in the same map. And they just threw us all in there. And we have 1021, which is a really old KD, versus 2643, I believe, is the youngest KD. So you can imagine just like the discrepancy in terms of credits and commanders and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, super fun pod. I let you, Lambo, and Beast control most of it. I was just sitting idly waiting. But appreciate it. Appreciate Ladus, you for having us on, and yeah, subscribe to all of our channels and such. So there you go.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, man. Beast, any last comments? Yep.
Yeah, I agree on the matchmaking. So, that is something what Lilith really needs to improve. Overall, it was a really fun podcast with a lot of different opinions. And that's what the podcast is about, right? To bring different player types, maybe different opinions together, or even same opinion. And then talking about that, it was really, really fun, and I'm looking forward for the next podcast we're gonna do.
Sounds good. So I'm going to have like just a couple last lines, and then I just saw a question on the chat that is exactly what I wanted to talk about. So Asman was asking, should free-to-play stop playing? That's the question that he was asking. And then I think the lengthy conversation confusing conversation between me and Beast probably raised that question as well. So I guess all of us, in our different ways, what we were saying is it's not necessarily the case that free-to-play can't have fun. What we were saying is Lilith made it unnecessarily difficult over time for free-to-play to enjoy the game as much. So if you're a free-to-play player who grinds a lot, you'll still enjoy the game. If you're a free-to-play player who doesn't have the expectation of getting the highest rewards or something, you can still enjoy the game. It's not that as a free-to-play you can't enjoy. And then again, generalizing, I'm pretty sure there are lots of free-to-play players who got better skills and better stats than what a lot of spenders would have. So by no means anything that we were saying is against the free-to-play players. It was more of an outcry and an outburst about how Lilith is being retarded about focusing too much on the spenders. That's all we were saying, and that's that. And with that note, we are probably going to call it a day here. Now, I wish that we could stream a little bit more, because the fighting has picked up on the 1534 versus 86 side, but then it's not something we have to watch at 3 a.m. my time. The fighting is going on for a couple of days. It's going to go on for a few more days. So tomorrow I'm probably going to stream a little bit of it and show you guys the training stats from pre-KvK 2489. And then in the meantime, hopefully you guys are subscribed to all of us, so not just on our channel, so Lambu, Ploto, and Beast, so that you don't miss out on the podcasts. And because we kind of take a rotation in terms of who is hosting this. So that's all that we had to say. So thank you guys, thank you for being here on chat, especially Justin for the $50 super chat, which probably got demonetized and we're not gonna get it, but we still appreciate you putting the effort in. Not effort, the contribution. And guys, Ploto, Lambo, and Beast, thank you for being here on chat today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. If there's stuff the audience wants us to talk about, be sure and get a hold of one of us and we'll get it on the agenda for the next cast.
Right then, see you all. Bye for now.
That's a good one, guys. Wait, don't talk yet. Too late.